Are you starting to feel a little bit sorry for Andrew Mountbatten Windsor? That's what we're asking. 0207 862 2222 is the number. Now, the former Prince defended the Falklands as a helicopter co-pilot during the war in 1982. He's returned to the British Overseas Territory several times since then, being welcomed as a war hero. But since the King stripped Andrew of his Prince title over his relationship with sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, every plaque bearing Andrew's name in the Falklands has been removed. Is the Territory right to take down the reminders of the disgraced former Prince, or should it continue to recognise his war efforts? Do let us know your views. 0207 862 2222 is the number. Andrew, where do you stand on this?
In a very clear place, and I do not feel sorry. This is a man who has lost public trust. He has been judged to the highest standard, institutional judgment, by the monarchy, to have lost his titles. And what you're seeing now are communities signal setting and dissociating themselves from a public figure who has effectively been a disgrace, and it's a sign of his character. He has failed every form of character assessment. Yes, he served in Falklands along with 30,000 other people from the UK. One of the plaques one of the plaques for what he's done was in an infants junior school. I mean, in 2002, I'd have that removed. This is about accountability, not cruelty. He is a man who still enjoys amazing privileges, amazing. He's been kicked out of the Windsor mansion and moved into
privileges are getting less, though.
He's moved into the Sandringham estate. You know, I'd take the country retreat any day, please, and I'm not going to have anyone feeling sorry for me. Ordinary service people face consequences for much less serious allegations where they would have their names removed. I think what we're seeing now is a trickle-down effect. My solidarity and my compassion is for the alleged victims. I think we need to safeguard the national interest and the national image. I think that's really important that we do that. Unfortunately, the only place for Andrew is one that's not in the media, his name is not on any form of statue, plaque or anything, and he can carry on and live his life.
Charlie, where do you stand on this? Could maybe his name being there on the plaques brings down the reputation of the armed forces?
Potentially, and if that's what they feel, then they will do what they feel is right. But I think what you said brilliantly about accountability, not cruelty, I think that is the question, because what has been the accountability? All we know about Prince Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, apologies. He lied in a national broadcast interview about his association with a paedophile. We know that to be the case because the emails that came out subsequently when he denied any continued relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. He enjoyed the financing of that individual for far too long. He has brought the whole royal family's name into disrepute. He's been stripped of those titles. He has never had a day in court. He's avoided or chosen or whatever, not been summoned, it's not been brought about. He's not been able to do that for whatever reason. So he has not been convicted. He has not of anything, as far as I'm aware. And therefore, having an association with a paedophile, whatever your views about what has happened in his life, what he did or didn't do, as he would deny it, and having paid £12 million to the late Virginia Giuffre, of course being front and centre of her book, which she's now not able to defend herself or continue that conversation because of the tragic circumstances in which she took her own life. There has to be a cut-off somewhere. And I think for whatever his faults and the terrible character that I might personally think he is, that's a personal view, the other things that he's done in life, such as being classed as a war hero, coming back from the Falklands, where there are commemorations where people want to keep his plaque up, then they're entitled to do that.
So you would separate his personal life from his military life?
Well, I think the two are linked because of the point that you made. I mean, it is, again, on a personal level, having a plaque up in a school because of the accusations that he's had, having an association with a paedophile is not right. But being put up in if they kept his plaque in the local army barracks, in a particular area where he single-handedly over the Falklands, I think, as a fighter pilot, sort of, was able to, whatever he did there. If it's a particular area where he achieved something,
okay,
then
we can't dissociate it.
People might want it there.
All right, well, don't go anywhere because we're taking your calls on this after the break. Are you feeling sorry for Andrew? 0207 862 2222 is the number, and we'll see you after this. Before the break, we asked which country music legend was almost killed by an ostrich, and the answer is Johnny Cash. Welcome back. We are live on 5. Andrew and Charlie still here with me. And yes, it was a rather bizarre story actually. Johnny Cash used to keep 2 ostriches on his estate in Tennessee, and the Tennessee property. And one of them, during a particularly harsh winter, got aggressive and attacked Cash, striking him quite powerfully with a kick and causing him some serious injuries. So yeah, nearly died by ostrich.
Wow.
There is a warning against keeping an ostrich as a pet if you were ever considering it. All right, let's get straight into your calls on whether you feel sorry for Andrew. This is after people in the Falklands took down all the plaques with his name on it. 0207 862 2222. We're going to start with Mel from Buckinghamshire. Are you feeling sorry for Andrew?
Hi, no, not really, because he hasn't come out and redeemed himself. If he wasn't guilty, he would have come out and spoke publicly. I feel like he's hiding behind the royal family, and I think, we should remove everything to do with him, to be honest.
Well, he did come out publicly and do that interview, which was actually catastrophic for him, Mel. So I suppose in his own way, he has tried to come out and redeem himself and confess his innocence.
Yeah, that's fair enough, but I suppose he's not doing anything now. But I think reputation for us as a country, it's not good, and I think we should step away from him as much as possible. That's just my personal opinion.
Oh, no, and that's what we call for, Mel, your personal
Mel,
opinion.
can I just ask, and I just ask this out of curiosity, if he did show humility, let's just say if he did an interview now, showed some level of remorse and accountability, would that change your opinion? Would he have more leeway?
No, I don't think it would, because I think the things he's been involved in. He is a public figure, and he should be setting an example. He should be a role model for our society. And the royal family. A lot of people love them, and I don't think it's right.
All right, Mel. Thank you.
I completely think we should step away from everything.
Thank you very much for your call, Lee from Yorkshire. Do you feel the same?
No, I feel sorry for him. He's a young man. He went to war. He didn't know if he was coming back or not. Right? And they're taking plaques down from Ireland. This other issue where he might be guilty, might not be guilty. We don't know.
Well, Lee,
this issue, Falkland,
I tell you what he is guilty of. He's guilty of a continued relationship with a convicted paedophile, and one of the plaques is in a nursery. Can you see some conflict there?
Yeah, I can see how it is. But just it's this issue, isn't it? When he was young, he went to war. And not many people go to war. A lot of people don't want to go in army.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely.
Army,
so are you saying that we should be able to separate his military life from his personal friendships with dubious characters?
Yeah, up to a point, yeah.
Right, but do you think that's fair, Andrew?
Unfortunately, I completely disagree. I think, so many people have served for our country and they don't have their names on plaques and are celebrated as publicly. But, within their circle and nationally, we have respect for every person who has served for our country. If you look at where we're going as a country, any person who is, of political interest, who is on TV, who is of influence, they're held to the highest account these days. We can, without naming some, you say one thing that's offline at the moment, or, kind of pivoting away from...
You're talking about cancel culture?
Exactly. So what I'm saying is people are penalised in places of influence already, where they lose their positions, they lose contracts. So I think for someone like Andrew, who has, serious allegations against him, not proven, but we know what we know, which is enough to know that he needs to be discredited amongst your family. We give you respect for what you did. you know, when it came to the Falklands, but we do not need your name across any
celebrated.
plaque. I don't think we can dissociate it that much, because it's the only argument for that is people of power and privilege. The ordinary person doesn't get that luxury.
All right, Lee, thank you very much for your call. June from South Yorkshire, what's your thoughts?
Well, my opinion is it's a witch hunt. He was a man with many other men associated with him at parties, and the women, as they said, there was coerced, but there was a lot of women what went there willingly. She went on a plane, she travelled all over. The biggest mistake he made was doing that interview. Did he listen to his mother, the Queen?
Hold on, it is starting to sound, and I'm sure you're not intending this, but it is starting to sound a little bit like victim blaming, because we have Jeffrey Epstein, who is a convicted paedophile, and wait, hold on, June, let me finish, and convicted sex trafficker, along with Ghislaine Maxwell. I think that's what she was convicted for, was trafficking. So trafficking women is where you take vulnerable individuals, and the crucial part of this is vulnerable individuals, and you traffic them for
but he was the person what was doing it. Prince Andrew and a lot of his other visitors wouldn't know the extent of what that man was doing. But now that man's gone, and she's paying an heavy price for being his partner. And how do you know that what's in prison wasn't coerced with him? And she had to do what his bidding.
That, you're talking about Ghislaine Maxwell, that could be a defence for Ghislaine Maxwell, that she had been coerced into that relationship, and there was a bit of manipulation and abuse going on there.
He's probably got a big hold over her.
Potentially, and actually it's something to consider, that all these ills that happened, there's only one person sitting in prison, and it is a female. But June, just going back to Prince Andrew, you're saying that he didn't know. Well, when he went to stay with Jeffrey Epstein, he did know that he had been convicted and was a paedophile. That he did know, and he went to stay with them.
Not probably in the beginning, and she was of consenting age, because it didn't happen in America.
Allegedly it did happen in New York, June. I can see where this is going, and you're definitely quite defensive of Andrew's actions. So you don't think he's got anything to feel bad about then?
I don't think, but I think everything now is aimed at Prince Andrew, and I'm not even a fan of his. But I do know the war. I mean, I'm 87, nearly 88. I remember him coming from war, rose in his mouth, and he was a young man, and he did serve, and he did do a lot of good. But that can't be overlooked anyway. They say he was arrogant in the palace. But they're crucifying Fergie and his girls, even wanting to strip the girls of the title. To me now, it's like a witch hunt.
Okay.
It's like a witch hunt.
Do you think that's fair? It's a witch hunt?
I mean, I'm not sure about that, but the one thing that I would, again, if there's any defence you want to sort of mount against or for Andrew, is the behaviour clearly of Jeffrey Epstein. So it wasn't just Andrew Mountbatten Windsor that was a great friend to Jeffrey Epstein, who was won over by what probably was narcissistic, but character who was able to charm the wealthy Peter Mandelson. Had an association with Jeffrey Epstein. Lots of people in power and privilege had an association with Jeffrey Epstein. I've no doubt that he pulled the wool over everybody's eyes to a certain extent, and that's why there was a continued relationship, because you thought the person that I thought I knew really can't be that bad. That's why I'll go fly to meet him. He should never have done any of those things. He should never have met Jeffrey Epstein. As soon as the conviction came in, Andrew should have said, "Oh my God, what a fool I've been. I've been had by this man, just as everybody else seems to have been." Notwithstanding, obviously,
but I think
the nature of the relationship and what has actually gone in between.
I think, and what June's, I can hear what she's trying to say. It's ultimately, one, we're more connected as a society. So we have, social media, as well as the media and other forms of communicating at this reaction and the consequences we want to see. This needs to be treated as a learning lesson, because this isn't just about those alleged victims. There are so many more. And I think ultimately it's not a witch hunt. It's possibly a learning lesson and a movement. And what we should really do is showcase the fact that there are consequences and severe consequences to actions like this. So you might have not known then, but I tell you what, the next guy's going to think twice before something like that, or the next public figure, or, you know, whatnot. I think it's a learning lesson, not a witch hunt.
I do wonder whether this could set a precedent, though, and lead to other ex-servicemen who may be convicted of other crimes, not of those sorts of, but maybe actually convicted, and then all their military medals.